Hello and welcome to the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on October 28th, 2022 from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. I know, we're off the couch. Just so you know, some of the information in this podcast may have changed by the time you've heard it. This episode features a big politics section in which we look at several big moments and important answers from the only gubernatorial debate between incumbent Republican Governor Henry McMaster and former 1st District Congressman Joe Cunningham. Did I mention ETV was the only one to have that debate? We also have some pre-election day fundraising figures for y'all too, so stick around. We got a lot. Also, there's one section in this podcast that we have not canceled, folks, and that's the wind down. We got a big one coming your way, but we also want to hear from you. You keep the wind down in business. And without your contributions of 1 to 3 minute long voicemails at 803-563-7169, we can't continue this mission. So do us a favor, give us a call right now, 803-563-7169. Thank you. Now for the latest in South Carolina. Currently, the spread of COVID-19 is low according to county-level data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. On average last week, 222 South Carolinians were hospitalized with COVID-19, 33 were in intensive care, and 13 were on ventilators. For that same week, 3,038 COVID-19 cases were confirmed to DHEC and 7 deaths. Right now, 53.3% of eligible South Carolinians are fully vaccinated. And the flu is picking up, y'all. I'm sure if you have kids or if you've been out and about, you know people are getting the flu. It's widespread right now is what officials are saying, and they're recommending that you get your flu shot. Also, please keep washing your hands, cover your cough, and stay home if you're sick. I'm getting my flu shot Sunday, so I'm going to be in a really great mood when we tape on Monday. Don't let that deter you, folks. Okay, welcome to the politics section, folks, and I just want to start off this section with how I start off the debates, with some ground rules. Candidates who meet our qualifications to debate based on a policy drawn up by our lawyers agree to our debate rules, all of which can be found on scetv.org/elections. That being said, I want to clarify the rebuttal situation that everyone seems to have enjoyed during the debate. This is all before we get to the clips. I just want you guys to know what I'm talking about here. Now, here's an example. Say I ask Congressman Joe Cunningham a question. He has 90 seconds to respond. I then ask Governor Henry McMaster the same question, and he too has 90 seconds. If McMaster challenges Cunningham on something or attacks him in his response, I then give Cunningham a 60-second rebuttal. Cunningham will likely invoke McMaster's name in defending himself. However, under our rules, McMaster does not get to rebut that rebuttal. Now, on some debate stages, they do that. Under our rules, we don't. And I would do the same if this order was reversed and Cunningham tried to rebut a rebuttal. We talked about this. Also, I do my best to prevent candidates from asking each other questions. That's them trying to create gotcha moments, and that's not what we're here for. And I also try to limit that crosstalk. Everyone gets their time. Let them use it. This is not cable news, folks. Now, all that being said, let's look at some highlights from the hour-long debate that took place at SCETV Studios here in Columbia on October 26th. There was no audience, just me and Andy Shane with the Post and Courier asking questions. And like the Lieutenant Governor's debate, my first question to them was about what they think the abortion law in our state should look like. Cunningham got the question first.
Quite simply, I think it was fine the way before under Roe v. Wade. And quite pointedly, I trust women. I trust women to make their own health care decisions. And Governor McMaster doesn't. And that's the clear contrast between the two people you have on stage here tonight. Because Governor McMaster wants to ban all abortions and have no exceptions for rape or for incest or even for the life of the mother. Folks, his position is the most egregious form of government overreach you could imagine. I mean, just think about it. If the government, if politicians are able to come into your doctor's offices, what could they not do? That's why the consequences of this election are so dire, because if an abortion ban comes to the governor's desk without exceptions, he'll sign it, and I'll veto it. And that is the key difference between the options that you have here in South Carolina tonight.
Governor, your response?
Well, the problem with that is Mr. Cunningham knows, no such bill is going to ever reach my desk. We've never had a bill like that in South Carolina. What Mr. Cunningham, as far as pre-Roe, and as we know, that allowed abortions up to 24 weeks. That is 6 months. That is 6 months that Roe allowed abortions for any reason or no reason at all. That is the radical position. We know when that heart starts beating at 6 to 8 weeks. We know that pain is felt from sometime 15 to 19, but none of the bills that are pending right now do what he said. I'm confident that what is going to happen is that our legislators will continue to work as they have been doing, and they will come up with a bill, if they come up with one at all. If not, we have the pain capable and the heartbeat bill, both of which have all the exceptions. But I believe they will come up with a bill that is acceptable to most of the people of the state. That is the goal of what they're doing.
The next big question was, what will the candidates do to mitigate the pinch of high inflation and how they would weather the likely recession next year? This question went to Governor McMaster first, and like they're allowed to do, he used part of that time to rebut Cunningham's previous rebuttal on abortion. So take a listen, and then you'll hear Cunningham's response.
I would continue to do what we have been doing, and that is by building. But let me just say, most of what Joe Cunningham just said is dead wrong, and he knows better, and he's trying to scare people, and I think it's a bad service to the people to continue with that line of irresponsible charges and accusations. What he said is not correct. Now, what we will do is what we have been doing. We have had, even since Mr. Biden took office, now he has been an obstacle, and we've had to fight him tooth and nail. We've had, I think, 5 or 6 lawsuits trying to keep them from disrupting business in South Carolina. But this year right now, we have a record of capital investment for our people. It is over $5 billion. We have never done that before. What else have we done? We've cut taxes. Do you know that the income tax rates in South Carolina have never been cut before? We cut them this time from 7%, and it's going to go down to 6%. We've got more people working right now than we've ever had before. We have more money in our trust funds. They're filled up than we've ever had before. We've also, for the last 4 years, cut taxes for the unemployment insurance. I have the endorsement of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. They're small businesses. I also have the endorsement of about 70%, 75% or so of all of our sheriffs and solicitors for law enforcement. My goal is to keep this state safe so the people can work. The most important thing we do is education, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Thank you, Governor. Congressman?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that Governor McMaster had an opportunity to say that he would veto a bill without exceptions. Folks, when Governor McMaster said he wanted to do away with exceptions, believe him when he said it the first time. But when it comes to our economy, last year, when gas prices were skyrocketing, and I felt them at the pumps as well. I felt them at the grocery store. But we called on Governor McMaster to temporarily suspend the gas tax here in South Carolina, just like other states were doing. This wasn't a partisan solution. Republican governor down in Georgia did the same thing, temporarily suspended it. But Governor McMaster would not suspend the gas tax. That would have provided immediate relief for folks at home, and also would not have jeopardized any types of building projects because we had so much money come in through the bipartisan infrastructure deal or COVID relief. The fact is, folks, we want to eliminate the state income tax because South Carolina has the highest state income tax rate in the entire Southeast. And with all due respect to Governor McMaster, he's had over 40 years in politics to eliminate it. You look around at states like Tennessee and Florida and Texas, they're seeing unprecedented economic growth. Folks, we can be that economic lighthouse for businesses that will either want to grow or expand into South Carolina. But we have to have new ideas and we have to have a new vision.
We then jump to education and what McMaster plans to do to fight not only the ongoing shortage of teachers in our state, but recruiting and retaining them in high-poverty school districts. Here's McMaster's response.
Well, that's a good question, and it's hard to get them into those rural areas. That's something we've been working on for a long time, and sometimes we can get the teachers to go there, but they don't stay because there's nothing to do. It's a rural area, and they'd rather be somewhere around a city. But I think we got to have the best teachers in the whole country in South Carolina. I don't want to pay them just to meet the southeastern average. I'd like to be way above that. In the time that I've been in office, we have raised teacher pay $10,000. That's not enough. We need to do more. But we're doing everything we can for teachers. In addition, and back to York County, that's one of the fastest growing places. They need more schools. They have more schools coming up than most anything. But we have to meet that demand. I have a task force that's working right now. It's retention and recruitment and retention. Is headed by a number of people who are. Barbara Nielsen is one, and their job is to determine exactly what else we can do. But we've raised the pay. We have law enforcement officers in the schools. I got law enforcement officers, a trained, certified, armed law enforcement officer in now over 900, going on 1,000 schools in South Carolina out of about 1,200 or so. We had less than 400, somewhere around 300 when I started. We also have a mental health counselor, and we're working to find a way with Prisma and McLeod Health and Health and Human Services to have an emergency room for mental health. We was trying to start it in Florence or Marion County. We got a lot we can do to help the teachers.
Congressman?
Yeah, look, this is one of the most pressing issues in our entire state. And a special session was called, which is normally reserved for emergencies, whether it be hurricane relief or otherwise, or the most pressing issues. But it wasn't called for paying our teachers more, or fixing our roads, or doing something about our high crime rate. It's called to rip away the freedoms of women. And folks, this teacher shortage crisis that is going on is being felt by everyone. And some of us feel it more than others. I know that when I drop my 4.5-year-old son off at school and the door swings open and I see a brand new teacher, my heart kind of sinks a bit. Because I think about the bonds that my son has formed with that teacher that is left. And I think about him having to start over from scratch. Folks, our teachers deserve a lot more than what they're getting. And I want a 10% raise for all teachers across the board. And I want to get the starting salary up to $50,000 a year by the end of my administration. And teachers are feeling betrayed by Governor McMaster and by politicians in Columbia. They're leaving in droves because of it. The same reason that most people leave their jobs, because they're disrespected, they're underpaid, and they're overworked.
And a big moment from the debate came in Governor McMaster's response to Shane's question about gay marriage and if the U.S. Supreme Court reversed the Obergefell decision, like it did with Roe, and sent gay marriage back to the states to decide. Would he support removing the gay marriage prohibition from our state's constitution and law, or put the matter to the voters? Here's Governor McMaster, then Cunningham, then McMaster's rebuttal.
Well, gay marriage is in our Constitution, it is not allowed, and under our state law, it is not allowed. I would follow state law, whatever the state law is, but maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I think that marriage ought to be between a man and a woman, just like I think that boys ought to play in boys' sports and girls ought to play in girls' sports. But I mean, you have to have some common sense in this arena, which seems to be changing all the time. But I think that our traditions, I think, are strong, and I think they're there for a reason. Back to the veterans for a minute. Nobody honors our veterans more than I do. I am a veteran, by the way, and we have. Didn't stay in long enough to get retirement, but we have eliminated the income tax on retirement pay for every veteran in this state, whether they live here now or move here later. Also, at the Department of Employment and Workforce, we prioritize the applications and the interest of voters. We reach out to the veterans to try to help them. And why is that? And every time I talk to these new businesses that are looking to come here, I tell them this is a military state with 8 military bases. I signed the first agreement with the United States Army about a month ago where enlistees or people in the Army, when they muster out, they will get 5 job interviews in South Carolina. That's what we think about veterans.
Thank you, Governor. Congressman.
Yeah, wow. For those of you who are just tuning in, it's 2022, and Governor McMaster wants to ban same-sex marriage. You just heard that tonight, folks. We have politicians that have been in government so long and become so calcified in their beliefs, and Governor McMaster has been a politician literally longer than I've been alive. And he's been taking our state backwards the entire time. Governor McMaster has been leading South Carolina into the 1950s since the 1980s. Folks, this campaign that we're running is a campaign ran on freedom. And I don't care who you are or who you love. I don't think it's government's role to be getting in the middle of that. And I don't think it's politicians' role to be ripping away freedoms from people, and women who just want to make their very own health care decisions. As it relates to veterans and taking care of them, we could expand Medicaid and provide health care to tens of thousands of veterans. And the governor could do that just with the flip of his pen. I won't hesitate for a second to expand Medicaid on day one to make sure that health care is expanded. And here's the thing. For those of you who have private insurance as well, your rates will go down because the pool will be expanded.
Governor Rebuttal.
Oh, yes. I don't care who you love or you don't love or who you want to live with or what you want to do. That's your business. But I think marriage is a special institution, and that designation ought to be reserved for a man and a woman. That's what I think. And as far as taking South Carolina backwards, well, Joe, you must be about the only one on earth who thinks that, because everybody else is coming to South Carolina. They're coming from all over the world to invest in the people of South Carolina, in this place. And as I say, I've already announced just announcements on companies coming in to hire our people. They've already invested over $5.2 billion this year, and this year is not over. That has broken every record that we've ever had. We got more people working. People are moving that want to be here, and to say that we're going backwards would certainly be news to them, because it is not a fact. We're a booming. We're getting stronger every day, and I'm going to do everything I can to see that we continue doing that.
Now, these clips, that was just about 13 minutes of that hour-long debate. We also talked about criminal justice reforms, gambling, marijuana, their priorities on day one, climate change, and where the two disagree with their party's leaders, and a lot more. You can catch that entire debate on youtube.com/South Carolina ETV. We're also going to have a full transcript online soon, so stick around. Okay, now you heard those candidates debate, and you're more than likely hearing them on TV too. That's because they've been raising some big bucks. Campaigns have made their final financial disclosures available. McMaster's campaign announced that it raised more than $2.1 million between July 1st and October 19th. Cha-ching sound effect here. That $2.1 million represented a quarterly record for the campaign. This pushed the total cycle haul to $7.6 million, and the campaign said that they had $2 million on hand going into the final days. Cunningham raised $1.2 million during the same period, according to his campaign. That pushed his campaign coffers to $3.4 million for the entire cycle, and he had $220,000 on hand. And moving on, we're going to go backwards a little bit to Sunday. That's when 1st District Congressman Nancy Mace was on CNN's State of the Union. That was October 23rd, and she said that she would support Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's plan to use debt ceiling negotiations to force spending cuts to programs like Medicare and Social Security. Mace also had this to say about any potential impeachment of President Joe Biden should Republicans take the House, as is expected.
I am not interested in playing tit for tat. I am not interested in retaliation. Impeachment has been weaponized over the years, and we've seen that. I really want us to be focused on the economy, on tackling inflation with responsible policy. We also need to look at crime and immigration. We've had 4.2 million illegal immigrants cross the border illegally at the southern border since Biden was sworn into office.
Mace, you may remember, was sworn in as a freshman congresswoman just days before the January 6th storming of the Capitol. While she immediately took to the airwaves to blast President Donald Trump's handling of the siege, she did not vote to impeach Trump for inciting an insurrection, like 7th Congressional District Republican Congressman Tom Rice and 9 other Republicans did. Rice, who was running for his sixth term, was defeated in the June primary by State Representative Russell Fry. And heads up, folks, the final debate of the campaign season is the State Superintendent of Education debate next Wednesday, November 2nd at 7 p.m. That's between Democrat Lisa Ellis and Republican Ellen Weaver. They are running to replace outgoing two-term Superintendent Molly Spearman. I will moderate the debate, and Shauna Adcox of the Post and Courier will join me for the hour in questioning of the candidates. Tune in on SCETV, South Carolina Public Radio, or online. And on the way out, you know this, early voting is going on right now across our state. Find your sample ballot, polling sites, and more at scvotes.gov. I spoke with Chris Whitmire, Director of Public Information with the SC State Election Commission on This Week in South Carolina, and I'll have it for you on Tuesday, unless you cheat and watch it on TV already, Fridays and Sundays. It's a great interview, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. You guys are bad. Welcome to the Wind Down section, our little break from the news. We talk about life during the pandemic, and we want to hear your stories as well. I really need to fix this intro one of these days. But we have a big wind down section. It's going to be a very SC Public Radio heavy wind down section is my understanding.
Yes.
I can't say any more, AT. I've already said too much, I fear.
You're probably gonna get censured for this. This is gonna be tough for you, tougher for our listeners. But yes, this is a real peek behind the curtain about what goes on here in South Carolina Public Radio. So, I need everyone to remember about what we were talking about last episode about who would and wouldn't eat candy corn in this office.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
And
Oof.
so, my office neighbor took extreme exception, and they called in, and this is the result, okay? Here we go. You ready?
Yeah. If there are young children around, please be mindful.
This
language.
This is dangerous stuff, everyone. Okay, here we go.
Hey, AT and Gavin, it's Vince Cole Blugo, and I'm calling because I need you guys to issue a correction. On the most recent pod, I believe AT stated that I like candy corn, and I want all you good leaders out across South Carolina, maybe the world, I think you guys are worldwide, but I want all you guys to know that I despise candy corn. I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. I enjoy many things, and I think AT's brought it up. For instance, donuts. Enjoy donuts. I enjoy walks on the beach and bike rides. I enjoy coffee and all kinds of sweets. And, I don't say no to much. I say no to candy corn. I hate it. All right, that's really it. See you guys.
Wow. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is as close to a Chris Rock moment that we're ever going to have on this podcast.
Yeah. He would slap me. I mean, he didn't just call here, okay? Gavin
he came to my home.
Gavin and I were driving away. Gavin is my personal Uber driver right now. And we were driving away, and Vince flagged us down in the parking lot.
Well, to be fair, we were playing chicken in the parking lot, and then I caved, and then we were talking.
Coward, honestly.
I did, yeah.
And he wasn't talking to us. He was reprimanding us from his car into ours. And he was like, I want a full retraction.
Yeah.
And he's yelled at me since then, too. And you know what? I'm not going to take it back.
No, definitely not, because we know it's true. I do respect Vince. Me and him have a lot in common, especially when it comes to the workplace food scavenging.
Yes.
I tell him when there's food,
you are
vice
both
versa.
Vultures. Absolute vultures.
I mean, I have the Butterfinger wrappers. We have all this candy in the office right now.
Gavin's like, why do I have to clear my throat so much? Oh, it's because of all the candy you're eating.
The highlight of this
anyway,
candy. But I just want to say really quickly that we did agree that if we put an overflowing bowl of candy corn out in radio and we put a game camera next to it or hidden somewhere, we know that there would be no 10-foot pole situation.
Exactly.
That man would be wrist deep in there eating them.
If we had like a cornucopia of beautiful, the most delectable looking candy corn, Vince would not be able to sit for hours across from it and not eat it. Anyway, speaking of candy, Roman texted in and he brought up like the sleeper candies, his favorite candies, all that stuff. And so we said that Sean, our producer, and if anyone listens to Spook Pod, you know that he is a very angry man.
Yes.
And so he is a candy knower and everything. So we were like, what better? Halloween weekend. Let's get Sean in studio. So Sean, welcome.
Welcome, Sean. resident candy expert.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, yes.
Although I am a little hurt that we've been doing this podcast for almost 5 years,
Yes.
and this is the first time I've ever been on
Yes,
it.
it's tough.
Also, I want to say candy cornucopia. It's right there.
We
You
had
gotta have
it.
it.
God, we had tip of our
we
tongue.
had it. Yeah.
You know who's not here right now? Vince Colblugo.
Yeah. He's scared.
Really, we should have him in
We
here.
offered
for a
and he said no.
He cowered and
Yeah.
he was shaking like a little dog. Anyway, Sean he's worked up a list here of sleepers, of faves, but then also he took umbrage with our dragging of Whoppers, not the burgers, the malt balls. And Sean
A
is
burger
here.
you've never
okay?
had, but yes.
Yeah, I've never had a Whopper. Anyway, Sean, take the floor. Take the way.
Thank you so much. We also thank you so much. We need to change that with AT not having a Whopper.
I've never had
Yes,
one.
we're gonna do the Big Mac. We're gonna do the Whopper.
I've never had either.
Oh,
Things are gonna change in 2023. I can feel it.
This is
a
gonna be
big
my
year.
year. This is gonna be my year, guys.
I do want to say, I'll start out by talking about Whoppers. I'm going to get this out of the way first. Candy, like all great art, is subjective. Everybody likes different things. I understand it. What works for me might not work for Gavin, might not work for AT.
Don't yuck my yum.
Don't yuck anyone's
Sean,
yum.
can you say that every time AT and I discuss anything on this podcast?
Yes.
Everyone's different, AT.
I say it as I'm listening to the podcast. I'm like, they shouldn't be fighting right now. Everyone's different.
It's just for the numbers.
Yeah, AT and Gavin, they agree on everything off pod, but once we get in the studio, it's an argument.
Sean's like, get our numbers up, baby. Pick a fight.
Also, you can tell from me talking right now that I am not like my character on South of Spooky.
He just wants to get that out there.
I don't barge in and just yell at AT and Gavin.
Sean
but
kicks doors down all the time. So that
Oh
part's
my
true.
God,
That's
he just
true.
kicked down the
That
door.
part-
That,
yeah,
that
that
part
part is
was true.
true.
Everything else. Okay, Sean. So what's good about a Whopper?
The crunch. Oh. The crunch of a Whopper. Now, here's the hard thing with Whoppers is you will often get bad Whoppers, especially in a Halloween pack where you get like the little 3 pack in the very flimsy plastic. You'll get like the kind of chewy Whopper, which is not a good Whopper. But if you have a very crisp, fresh Whopper,
the Goldilocks zone,
you have that Goldilocks zone of a Whopper. It is so good.
I get the crunch, but then it's like the driest aftermath.
the
Like the
flavor
Butterfinger
is bad.
crunch is give me. I just had a couple of those, but
yeah.
there's that that chew. That is like
it's chalky.
chalk.
It's chalky.
I also
You're a big chalk fan.
I am a big chalk fan.
Real chalkhead.
You also mentioned Necco on the last episode.
Yeah.
I like Necco wafers.
God.
I do probably have a little bit of a like old timey palate. Like I like Necco wafers.
There
I
you go.
like black licorice.
Yeah.
I like that sort of medicinal taste that both of those have.
Sure.
But with a malt ball, Whoppers in particular, like I like that malt flavor. I like a malt milkshake.
Okay, so there's that. All right, let's hit sleepers and best candies here.
Okay, so this is not in any particular order.
But it is official.
But
yeah,
it is official.
there's no rebutting this
There's
rebuttal.
no
there are no rebuttals here. We can't even. We won't be speaking.
Exactly. I'm going to start with the best normies.
Okay.
Okay.
Smart.
Just out the gate, Twix.
Yeah. Sure.
Major one.
Yes.
Probably the best, in my opinion, the best like normal candy bar you
Yes.
can get.
Yes.
Sure.
Best of both worlds. I
I'm
steal
not
that
gonna
every
argue.
time from Abby's
Not
office
gonna,
first.
Not going to argue.
Yeah. Second, Butterfingers. Gavin's got the wrapper
Exhibit
right
A.
there. He has 2 wrappers, if I see that correctly.
Don't you lay a finger.
I think this is a little too high, honestly, of a rank.
I do too. Oh, it's no particular order.
No particular order. This
I
is
feel
just-
like that is in a no man's land of not bad, not good.
I've never bought a
no.
Butterfinger.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe
keep
I
going.
just
Don't
did.
let
I
me.
don't
Don't
know.
let me
Oh,
slow
yeah,
you down.
well,
I've bought many Butterfingers in my life.
Only when the Simpsons were ripping it. That was when I was like really.
All right,
Butterfingers.
Sean. Next up,
Go ahead.
what do we got?
Crunch bars.
I like crispy rice.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
too.
I like
do too.
crispy
That's why I
rice.
like 100-gram bar. Where is it? 5?
I love 100 500
Yeah,
grand?
100 grand.
500?
500?
Inflation?
A million
I hear they're calling them 500-gram bars now. Like, thanks, person.
Obama. Okay.
Thanks, person
Let's
who controls
go.
inflation. Us.
Now, the thing about Crunch bars is I loved them when I was a kid. And I miss the days when a Crunch Bar came in the foil.
Yes.
Do you guys remember
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You get the foil and then it had the wrapper around it. Now it's just all plastic.
Do they even do candy commercials anymore? I feel like I haven't seen a candy commercial. I feel like there were so
don't
many in our
remember.
youth.
You know what? I see paydays all the time. on TV.
really?
Interesting. Not crazy about a payday. Continue, Sean.
Snickers, I feel like that's a gimme.
Sure.
This is a big one. Reese's Cups.
Yes.
Reese's.
No, Reese's.
Reese's
Pieces.
Thank you.
No, not Reese's Pieces.
Then they should spell it differently.
We know that it rhymes with pieces. It is
Then they should
inherently a rhyme with
They
pieces.
should put more C's in there. I don't want to do this right now. Reese's they are.
I
good.
think that's my favorite.
Yeah, that's always a good Halloween
I'm a
one.
peanut butter guy. You
I
know.
love the bunnies too.
Yeah.
The eggs, I should say.
Any form of them,
Yes.
good. Any Reese's product, I feel like.
100%. The
is-
piece,
I'm
the
down to go with
pieces.
It's elite. That is an elite candy.
Okay, I'm going to get into some that I like. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'm going to call these probably sleepers then.
Sleepers?
I would have added Skittles to that list, by the way. Yes.
Skittles, yeah. I would put that on there. Sour Patch Kids.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I could use one right now. That was an authentic reaction, folks.
I like-
I want one right now.
I
Just
like
Butterfinger out of my
The
mouth.
Sour Patch watermelons.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Those are also
Or some
elite.
peaches, yes.
Swedish Fish.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I love a
Sure.
little thing. of
I've
Swedish
seen me
fish.
go through the bag. Sean gives me a bag for Christmas. Like
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
big one. It's like a 6-pound bag.
It's sad to
eats-
see
Gavin
it.
eats
It
in 2
goes.
days.
I have diabetes.
Twizzlers.
Yes.
Sure.
I like the little 2-pack of Twizzlers you get for Halloween. Very flimsy, very flimsy
Yeah,
plastic
just
that you just
enough.
tear through.
Keep going.
Peanut M&Ms.
Yes, I think that those are great candies.
Yes.
I think a peanut M&M is amazingly good.
I think that is the best M&M.
Thank
That's the
you.
best form of
Yes,
an M&M.
absolutely.
Because everyone else just hates M&M's plain, which I understand. But I will also eat more so than a Hershey Kiss.
Yeah.
Well, Hershey Kiss is bad.
But I'll take it if I need it.
Starburst.
Oh yeah.
How you guys feel
Should've
about
been on
that?
the first list,
Okay.
but yes.
I like Starburst fine.
And Kit Kats, I put it on there.
I'm surprised Kit Kats weren't in the first list.
I'm okay with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll eat them if they're around. Here in radio, we have a big bowl of Kit Kats.
Yeah.
But
out
they're
by our front door.
flavored.
They're
Kit
pumpkin
Kats.
pie Kit
Some of them
Kats,
are.
which are very
I don't
unique.
want keep your pumpkins out of this.
And I'll still eat it because
Okay.
I'm just that kind of person.
And then, do we have a sleepers list, or is this your sleepers list?
No, I do have a sleepers list.
Okay.
I would classify these as rare.
Okay.
And I should have prefaced this by saying it's been
1 week.
25. It's been 1 week.
It's been 1 week. Jesus. Well played.
So
The
good.
millennials will get that.
It's been 25 years since I trick-or-treated, so
Yeah.
I'm basing this just on like stuff that I've seen here at the office or at parties, or I really love to go and just roam around the candy aisle at like Target when
Look for
it's
other
Halloween.
people to talk to.
Yeah, I'll stare in everybody's faces, see if anyone's open to me
If
talking
they
about
make eye
candy.
contact, they're in trouble. Let's get the sleeper list real quick
Okay.
before we run out of time.
York peppermint patties.
Caitlin loves those. Caitlin loves them.
Every time I see one in a Halloween bunch, I'm like,
Caitlin loves those.
put some thought into it.
Give that, yes.
Milk duds.
Oh, yeah.
I
teeth
love
ruiners.
I love them.
ruiners,
Oh,
man.
get them all in there. Better
those
than the
tiny
Tupperwares.
little
Uh-huh.
boxes.
They
Yeah,
look
the
like
hell.
rabbit poops.
100 grand we mentioned.
Yeah, 500 grand.
Dots.
Dots, yes.
I love a dot. That's an old timey
I'm
candy.
gonna say
Like
the
a Gigi
nano.
fruit.
I'm gonna say the nano on a dot.
This next one was a big one for me as a kid. Smarties. You get those rolls of Smarties. I would
like
just,
a roll. I like a roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like the sweet tart Smarties.
That's a nice form factor.
I like the
It is.
sweet
The form
tarts
factor
better.
on those are nice, but those aren't good.
No.
Keep going. Anything else?
Nerds.
Yeah.
The mini boxes of Nerds.
Caitlin loves nerds.
Airheads.
Oh,
You gotta
yes.
shake it.
You gotta shake
You
it.
gotta shake
gotta
it
get
down.
that little pillow.
Any kind
Yeah.
of taffy. I'm going to say it. Any kind of taffy.
Taffy.
And Warheads.
Oh,
Yes. Thank you, Sean.
I was going to say warheads earlier when you're talking about...
Clap them out.
Yeah, that
Clap them out. He's clapping for himself. Anyway.
This
I need
segment was
intro
sponsored by the
music.
Candy Council of the United States. Thank you.
If
Big
anyone
candy.
listening has any disagreements on that, too bad.
Too bad.
Call in.
Give us a call.
Tell us what you find in your kids' candy. Let us know.
Yes.
Have a good weekend. Trick or
Call us
treat
right, trick or
smartly.
treat. Watch out for the razor blades. They're in the apples.
They are everywhere. Okay, so have a good weekend, everyone. Stay safe.
Give us a shout, 803-563-7169, just like we heard from Vince Cold-Brugo. And also, we heard from Sean. That was an amazing rundown there about candy. We want to hear your hot takes on candy, too. Give us a shout. And you can also stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina. I say this with love. You're different than other people, AT.